Hello, class. Ulysses S. Grant was the first president since Andrew Jackson to serve 2 full terms. Ulysses S. Grant was born April 27, 1822. He died July 23rd, 1885. He is 63 years old. He started heavily smoking cigars during the Civil War, and that definitely didn't help him getting throat cancer, leading to his kind of early death. His home state is Ohio, and if you look at presidents before the Civil War, Virginia is constantly being represented here. If you look at home states after the Civil War, you're going to see a lot of Ohio. By matter of religion, Ulysses S. Grant was a Methodist. So for family, his wife and first lady is Julia, and she came from a slaveholding family. And so when Grant married her, he got possibly the most awkward wedding gift possible, a human being. His father-in-law gave him a slave. Grant eventually freed this slave, at a time where economically he really could have used the money from selling him. He could just free him. It was very uncomfortable, the whole situation. Now, his wife loved being first lady. She loved the fashion, the pageantry, the parties, and she was really disappointed that Grant didn't go for a third consecutive term. By matter of political party, Grant is a Republican, which was still relatively new political party when he took office. So he's going to be in office on March 4th, 1869 to March 4th, 1877. As I said at the start, this is the first president since Andrew Jackson to serve 2 full terms. His first vice president was Schuyler Colfax, and his second vice president was Henry Wilson. Henry Wilson actually died during the middle of his second term, so there was a vacancy. So Grant is best known for being a soldier. And he was fought in the Mexican-American War. And he's going to meet a ton of people that he is later going to be with, fighting for and against during the Civil War. And the most prominent of these are people like Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy, and Robert E. Lee, the number 1 general for the Confederacy. So when the Civil War breaks out, Grant is on the side of the Union, but he isn't like the most well-known, and he's not the top general. A bunch of different things happen that are going to end up elevating Grant. So some more prominently known battles, he is the one in command during the Battle of Shiloh, which is a Union victory. He's also going to be involved in the Vicksburg campaign and win the Battle of Vicksburg in Mississippi. And this is happening at the exact same time, more or less, as the victory at Gettysburg, which is more famous. But eventually, Grant is going to be made head of the Union Army, and the one that helps end the war. So he is going to be the one that meets with Robert E. Lee to get the surrender at the end. And so he stays the head of the Union Army immediately following the war, as Reconstruction is occurring, where there is the military occupation of the South by the Union. And Reconstruction is in a way to make sure that the former slaves, the freedmen, are having their rights protected, as well as originally this is a punishment for those in the Confederacy. Andrew Johnson is going to appoint him as Secretary of War. It's actually going to be one of the things that leads to him being impeached. Andrew Johnson thought that if he appointed Grant, Grant would have such great credentials that even the radical Republicans in Congress wouldn't oppose it. So when Andrew Johnson, after the term is up, everyone knows no one's going to run him. He's not going to get reelected. It's a Republican chance to get a new Republican president in. And so Grant is the nominee. And this is something we've seen again and again, where you have a popular military general that is taken on by a party to be their standard bearer. So Grant is going to win in 1868 as well as in 1872. In 1872, he is thought to be so formidable, the Democrats don't actually nominate their own candidate against him. He has a former Republican, Horace Greeley, that's his opposition. So the thing about Grant is Grant himself is kind of squeaky clean when it comes to politics, but he puts his trust in the wrong people consistently. And he has cabinet member after cabinet member in his administration that gets involved in corruption and scandal. And that's kind of what the Grant presidency was known for a long time. He has a Secretary of War who is the only cabinet official to ever be impeached. What he's also going to do during the war is that the Ku Klux Klan is going to develop in the South and start terrorizing people. And Grant is going to use the laws given to him through Congress, the powers, and the power of the military to basically crush the original Ku Klux Klan. And so it's going to have to revive decades later. But Grant absolutely despised the Klan. He worked hard to get the former slaves, the freemen, the ability to have civil rights. So Grant decides not to go for a third term in 1876. This really disappoints his wife. In 1880, he does attempt for a third term, non-consecutive. He is at the Republican National Convention. He gets the most votes on the first ballot, but not enough for a majority. And eventually ends up going for James Garfield, but he really won at that time. And so Grant ultimately dies in 1885 as a result of throat cancer. He was spending his final days trying to write his memoirs so that his wife would have some sort of an income after he died. So Grant is someone that, again, is more well known for his work outside of being president than being president itself. However, he's definitely been raised up in the esteem of historians in recent years. And if you compare him to Andrew Johnson, how he dealt with the issues of civil rights, there's no comparison. He did a lot more on